we'll get started just for sake of time, and as more people come in, I have our waiting room open, so I can always admit them as they come in. So welcome, everybody. My name is Dan McElveen. I am an undergraduate admissions counselor here at Assumption. I get the wonderful opportunity to help be the moderator for the Grenon School of Business Roundtable discussion, where we have a wonderful staff of individuals here to talk with you, answer your questions, share stories, and a lot of it is good information. So I'm pretty excited, like I said, to be able to be a part of this and just to kind of sit in the background and be able to listen in. So today, our agenda is I'm going to introduce Dean Foley to you guys. I'm going to let him take it away for the rest of his team here today. He knows them a little bit better than I do. We will walk through the academic offerings that are involved in the school, the Grenon School of Business. So we do have quite a few different options that we'll walk through. We will briefly go over the core curriculum overview because we think it's important for you as an incoming freshman to know more about that. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Career Development and Internship Center, but also experiential learning opportunities that our students are able to take a part of in the School of Business, and how our business faculty are very integral in that. Just a couple reminders before we move on is just to make sure you stay muted during the presentation portion, just because that helps limit distractions and allows our faculty and our students to keep their train of thought. We also ask that you utilize the chat function. So if you do have any questions while the presentation is going on, feel free to put them right into that chat box. I'll be monitoring it the whole time. If I can answer it, I'll answer it live. If not, I think it'd be better for someone else to answer it. I'll wait until the end when we do our live Q&A. And at the end, like I just said, we will be doing a live Q&A portion of the presentation today. So without further ado, I will turn things over to Dean Joe Foley. He is the Dean of the Grenon School of Business. He oversees this motley crew here that you see before you, who are all wonderful people. And like I said, I think I'll turn it over. He can talk to you a little about his experience, but then also some of the people that he's invited to speak with you today. So Joe, if you want to take it away, I'll become a ghost in the background.
Well, Dan, thank you very much, and welcome everyone to this presentation on this wonderful, beautiful evening in April. And I've got a powerhouse team joining me tonight. I've got all my major leadership people in the Grenon School of Business. I have Jen Neese, who is the chair of the accounting department. I have Carrie LeBlanc, who is the chair of the management, marketing, and organizational communication department. I have Mike Lewis, who is the director of the MBA program. I have Colleen Fahey, who is the director of the Economics, Finance, and International Business Department. And last but definitely not least, I have invited Libby O'Hara to join us because she oversees the sport management program. And that is always a very popular issue when we talk about the programs that we have available. We're also joined by some wonderful students who are going to share their stories. Now, we've been doing these type of events for quite a while. And what I've always found out is the students are actually the stars of this show. People who are thinking about why they should come to Assumption, when you see people and how successful they've been and how this institution has helped them to succeed, that is what usually impresses people, prospective students, prospective parents, more than anything else. So tonight we have with us Maria Barrett from the Economics Department, Brendan Desatel from Management, Emma Santee from Organizational Communication, which also has a lot in common with marketing, and Will Shaw from accounting. Now, the first slide we're going to look at here, and quite frankly, we're not big into slides. We'd rather have you see the interaction with the students and what they have to say about their own stories. But we're going to run through a few things here that we think will be helpful to you in making that decision. And the people you see on here tonight, those are the people you're going to be dealing with when you show up at Assumption University in the fall. We don't have TAs. The people who are here are teaching, active teachers at all times. If you want to make an appointment or even just drop into somebody's offices, we don't have anything that's preventing you from doing that. Even my own office, I've been to other schools where it's a little bit of a gauntlet to get to see the dean. There's 1 or 2 administrative assistants and things along those lines. At Assumption, none of that happens. We all have regular offices. You want to drop in, you send us an email, or you just knock on the door and see what's going on. So in terms of our academic offerings, we have 9 majors, and those 9 majors are a balance of traditional business and also economics. So accounting, economics, economics with a business concentration, finance, our newest major, just really started this year, and we have just finished building a trading room in our building, which is going to support that finance major, and particularly the investment aspects of the finance major. International business, management, marketing. We've got a new concentration that we just developed in the last couple of years, marketing with a concentration in digital marketing, hugely popular, and organizational communication. A lot of people ask us, what does that mean? And Emma Santee is an organizational communication major, and I'm hoping maybe she'll be able to give you some insight into that. I can tell you what I think about that program, but it helps to hear it from a student. We also have a whole bunch of minors, and I'm not going to run through this list, but I'm just going to talk about some of those that stand out. Sport management is a minor in our school, and it's hugely popular. And fraud and forensic accounting is another very popular minor. And those two are kind of bookends, but we have all these other traditional type of minors we also look at. And one of the more recent developments we've had in the business school is this accelerated BA MBA dual degree program. That seems to be catching a lot of people's interest. It started with the accounting program, because if you're an accounting major and you want to become a certified public accountant, you need 150 hours of education. So that was started to provide that. It's expanded now into a general management track, and we may have a healthcare management track developing in the very near future. So Dan, if you could just move us off this particular slide. When you come to Assumption, there's a couple of things you might hear about in terms of a core. Some people ask us, what is the business core? Well, there are common courses that the majors take, but they're not all the same. For example, accounting would insist on you taking a certain number of courses in economics, accounting, management, marketing, and statistics, but finance might have a different look to them. So there are common courses that are in the school, but a lot of them revolve around accounting, economics, and statistics and math. In terms of the college, we're a Catholic institution, and as a result, we have a core curriculum that reflects that. Now, going through this line by line, I don't think it's really going to add much to the discussion tonight, but I just want you to know that if you come to Assumption, you're going to have a liberal arts core exposure that is going to develop you into a fuller person. And when I talked to alums of our institution over the years, going back to the 80s, the 90s, the aughts, they tell me sometimes they didn't realize it when they were here, but when they got out of Assumption, they understood how valuable that liberal arts background was to them, learning how to write and communicate in terms of a general way that they then applied into a business environment. And when you come into Assumption, you will find that balancing the business school and the general liberal arts core is part of the integrity of the Assumption education. Dan, what do we got next here? One of the things that I think is unique about the Grenon School on the Assumption campus is we are there to help you to make the transition from the academic world to the world of work. We're not alone in doing that, however. The CDIC, the Career Development Internship Center, that is here for everyone, all of the schools. And everything you see here are valuable attributes and valuable resources you should take advantage of if you're an Assumption student. But I want you to know that what's different about the Grenon School of Business is the faculty in the school are all in and helping you to do this also. They will help you with your resume. If you're thinking about an internship, they'll help you to decide what type of internship you might need, where you might want to go, and how you apply for those types of internships. Now, some internships we have year after year, but you may have something unique that you want to look at. If you're talking about an experiential learning type of situation, we do that all the time, for example, in our marketing classes, where one of our marketing faculty members might partner with a local business to develop a marketing plan that the students actually do, and they devote a month of the course to doing those type of things. So making that transition to academics to the world of work is something that is ongoing in the institution, between internships, between experiential learning, and the everyday advice that you can get from the faculty who are tremendously engaged. And Dan, why don't we just show that last slide? And before we start turning this presentation over to the students, which is really what this is all about, we threw this slide together just to talk about places where students have recently gone. All the big accounting firms are here, Disney's here, a lot of sports teams are here. We make it our purpose. So see that you will succeed as an individual, that you will learn the liberal arts and sciences, you will learn the business area, and you will succeed in an area that will combine those attributes. So with no further ado, and I see some questions are building up here, I wanted to start turning it over to the students who can tell us their stories. So I'm not going to ask for volunteers. I'm just going to start picking people. So one of my own students, Will Shaw, an accounting major who's done very well. I know Will is up for this, so I'm going to let him lead the way. So Will.
Yeah, I'll start it off.
Story.
Hi, everyone. My name is Will Shaw, and I'm a graduate student in the Accelerated MBA CPA track program right now at Assumption University. I graduated undergrad at Assumption as well with a major in accounting and a minor in fraud examination and forensic accounting, as well as management. During my time at Assumption, I was involved in the Assumption men's lacrosse team, the accounting club, and the NCAA student athlete advisory committee. There's so many different clubs to get involved with around campus, and Assumption always does a great job of setting up an activities fair within like the first couple of weeks of school, so you get to see what clubs and activities you might be interested in. Assumption has also given me a ton of assistance with my internship and job opportunities. So 2 summers ago, I was able to pursue an auditing internship with a smaller accounting firm, O'Connor and Drew, which is located in Braintree, Massachusetts. During this internship, I learned countless accounting skills and lessons that I continue to use in my graduate classes and that I used in my undergraduate classes. And I would have never been able to have this experience without the help of my professors, as well as the Career Development and Internship Center at Assumption. Assumption always does a great job of setting up a career and internship fair every year with top-notch companies, as you saw on that last slide. There's so many great companies that a lot of our students get jobs at. And that was really where I first got in contact with some of O'Connor and Drew's current employees. Then last summer, I was given the opportunity to work an internship at Ernst & Young as a financial services assurance intern. When I was interviewing for this position, the Career Center was extremely helpful once again, and they allowed me to use one of their interview rooms so that I had a quiet place to do my virtual interview on campus. And after graduation from the MBA program in May, I'll be joining Ernst & Young full-time in their Boston office as an assurance staff. Well, hopefully in the office, who knows right now, but either way, I'm really looking forward to that. And then I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the Accelerated MBA program like Dean Foley was talking about. Specifically, I'm in the CPA track program. And a great aspect of this program is that they actually allow seniors to take 2 MBA courses, which ultimately allows students to not only receive their degrees faster, but help students to save money as well. So last year, during my last semester as a senior undergrad, I had 2 spaces open and was able to start my graduate degree early because I had already finished both of my major and minor classes. And I actually had a bunch of friends that took advantage of this as well, but you can either take these classes online or in person, and there's even options available to do some work online and some work in person as well. Just another great thing about the CPA track program specifically is that they, like Dean Foley was saying, you're able to fulfill your 150 credit hour requirement for the CPA exam. So in order to sit for the CPA exam, you need to complete 120 credit hours, but to be able to apply for a CPA license, you need to complete 150 credit hours. So I'm going to graduate from the MBA program with over 150 credit hours, which will allow me to apply for the CPA license after I've finished all 4 parts of the exam. And another specific thing about the CPA track program is that you're actually required to take a CPA prep course. And this allows students access to an online review course. Specifically, it's Wiley CPA. And they give you access to that until you pass all 4 parts of the exam. So this was awesome because it not only counted towards credits towards my degree, but it also allowed me to study for the CPA exam as well. Then finally, I just wanted to quickly talk about why I chose Assumption for both my undergraduate and graduate degrees. A big reason why I did was because of the professors and the professor-student ratio. The professors are all there to help you learn the class material first and foremost, but more importantly, they're there to help you get a job and prepare you for a job after graduation. They'll help you with anything from a question you have on the homework to reading over an email that you want to send to a recruiter or an employer. And when I was looking for schools, I noticed that a lot of larger schools missed out on this close-knit professor relationship and don't really have the opportunity to spend as much time with their professors as we do. Overall, Assumption is such an amazing school, and I'm so grateful that I decided to come here for both graduate and undergraduate degrees. And I just want to say thank you all for coming out today, and I hope you all end up choosing Assumption as I did, and go Hounds.
Well, thanks, Will.
No problem.
An enthusiastic starter here.
Yep.
And Ernst & Young, for those of you who aren't familiar with the accounting profession, that's the big time. So Will is really off to a great start in his career. Speaking of another student who's off to a great start in her career, I'm going to call on Maria Barrett next to talk about her experiences.
Hi, everyone. My name's Maria Barrett. I'm a senior here at Assumption University. I'll be graduating in like less than a month, which is scary because I feel like I'm a freshman. But I came to Assumption kind of like what Will said, the small atmosphere and the relationship with the professors. I actually have a twin sister who chose UMass, which is a huge school. And just going on a tour with her there, I was like, this isn't for me. It's too big. And she's in lectures now with like 200 kids and I'm on a Zoom with like 20. So just forming those relationships with my professors makes me so happy that I chose this school in the first place. So I came to Assumption and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I kind of just would hope that it would fall into place, and it did. So I started off as an English major. I just like to write, I like to read. So I thought that was the right path for me. And then I took my first economics course and I essentially fell in love with it. I was challenged. I had questions and my professors were always there to answer me. I went to my professor and I was like, I think I want to do this as a major. And she talked me through it and she led me to all the right steps to take to become an economics major. So I did, and I kept my English minor, which I'm super happy about right now in my seminar class because I'm writing a long paper that the English minor comes into play. So on campus, I do not play a sport, but I do a bunch of other things. I write for the student newspaper and I'm a part of the campus activities board. And through one of my English courses, I was able to volunteer at a nonprofit in Worcester, which I am no longer doing because of COVID, but it was a good experience. I can't really speak a lot about what Assumption will do or has done for me in terms of the going into the workforce, because I obviously am starting my job in June at Bain Capital. But I can just say through my internship now, just Assumption providing me these skills with Excel has been super helpful. And I think that will still be very helpful going to Bain Capital. And just honestly, just forming those connections with the professors and various amounts of people and being able to talk to a lot of people, that has really helped me with my interview process. And just being comfortable having a conversation. I think that's what really made me stand out in forming those connections with my classmates and my professors. And I've loved my time at Assumption. I'm so happy. I'm so sad that it has to come to an end, but I can't wait for what my future has in store for me thanks to Assumption. So thank you for having me.
Maria, can I just ask you a question?
Yeah.
I think it's significant that we let people know that you are an economics major, which
Yes.
is a great major to have, but you're really going into finance with Bain Capital.
Mm-hmm.
And Bain Capital, once again, I mentioned with Will, EY is the big time. Well, Bain Capital is the big time too. Getting a job there is a huge accomplishment. And I want to congratulate you on that, as I've already congratulated Will in the past. And I just want people watching tonight to understand how significant that is to get an entry-level job with Bain. It's hugely competitive and you should be so proud of yourself that you were able to pull that off.
Thank you so much. And thank you to Professor O'Hara too.
Well, we're going to let Libby speak probably in a couple of minutes because there's always a lot of people who are interested in sport and sometimes they don't ask the questions, but we just ask her to give a couple of minutes usually. So Brendan Desertel.
How's it going, everybody? Thanks for having me on here tonight. Well, like I was introduced as, my name's Brennan Desatel, senior pitcher and captain on the baseball team, as well as student athlete president of both Assumption and the Northeast 10 Conference. So those are my two main time commitments right now at Assumption, other than obviously being a student. I did not start as a business major at Assumption at all. I started off as an education major. Then I went into criminal justice, and then I went into math for like 3 days, and that didn't work out well either. And then I really didn't know where I was going to go at Assumption at all. I was pretty lost my freshman year. My first semester, I got a 2.7 GPA. For those of you who don't know the scale well, if your high school didn't have it, that's not very good at all. That's pretty bad. And it was in my first business courses that I was interested. I didn't really know if I wanted to get into business yet, but I had Professor LeBlanc. And as I said before, I didn't really receive any feedback from professors because I was a pretty mundane student at the time. And Professor LeBlanc called me over and said, "You're really not good at some of this stuff." And I said, "Oh, okay. I appreciate that." But then he followed that up by highlighting my strengths. So by having a professor that not only recognized my weaknesses, but highlighted my strengths as well, it obviously made me want to engage and not necessarily prove him wrong, but prove to myself that I could be a better student in that way. So that was in a basic management course. And from there, we developed a relationship, and I decided to be a management major my sophomore year at the very end. So getting late into the business school wasn't necessarily the worst thing, but most people come in college and you think that you need to have everything figured out. And at Assumption, you absolutely do not. You guys are here because you're interested in the business school. For me, it was 100% the right decision, and I could not recommend it anymore. But through my interest in the business world, and I've had Professor O'Hare, Professor Fahey, Professor Lewis, and Professor LeBlanc, they all have been able to highlight my weaknesses and tell me what I need to work on to be not only a better student, but a better individual that can contribute in the professional world beyond college as well. So by doing that, it's also developed really great relationships within the school for me as well. I'm not really a unique story at Assumption. Almost all of our students can tell you that your professors are going to take a special interest in you. It may not be every single day after class, but you are going to get called over, and they're going to want to get to know you. They're going to want to get coffee. They're going to want to go to the dining hall with you and get to know you a little bit. I can't tell you how many side conversations I've had with these professors, whether it be in their offices or any of the other locations I've said. And you're not going to get that at another school because it's the unique side of Assumption where you have that small campus feel where you're going to have opportunities to have one-on-one time. And that's where your professors are going to say to you, you know, when it comes to applying for jobs, you're going to want to work on your strengths so you can display those. But when it comes to being a student, they're going to tell you, like, you need to work on this. This is where you need to be better. This is where you need to improve. I know that for a lot of people, they just want to hear how great they are at everything, but it's not like that at Assumption. If you truly want to grow and you truly want to be the best version of yourself, you're going to grow. And since I decided to be a business major, my GPA went from a 2.7 to a 4.0. It's just about who's going to push you, who's going to get you there. And for me, and I'm confident that it's the same for many of you, that place is going to be the Grenon School of Business.
Brendan, what are you doing next?
I'm going to graduate school next year at Notre Dame.
Okay, so I just want to point out something that we've seen as a common theme here. Some people say, do I have to go to a big school? Well, I guess Maria says no, because her sister's at a big school and she's happy you're here. But no matter where you go, getting admitted to graduate school at Notre Dame, this is something that people strive for no matter what school they're at. And you can accomplish that here. EY or any of the big accounting firms, that's the top of the profession. And we put people in those places all the time. Will's here tonight to support that idea. Bain Capital, once again, the cream of the crop, top level institution. No matter where you went, it would be a difficult job for you to get a job at Bain Capital. But Maria has a job at Bain Capital. The other thing I always want to talk about here is I've been to a lot of schools. I had 3 sons and I took them to probably 40 schools. when they were thinking about going to college. And every place you go, they talk about, oh, the community here is great. Well, I'll tell you, you'll hear that everywhere, but it's true at Assumption. I think that's what the students have also been talking about tonight. The idea that you can just show up at somebody's office and ask them questions or for help, whether it's the CDIC, whether it's the faculty in the Grenon School. All of this is what makes Assumption a special place. Now, I've been here a while. I founded the business program on this campus a number of years ago, and it's evolved into a school of business now. And why is it a school of business? Because we're trying to go to the next level. And I think we're well on our way to doing that. The pandemic slowed us down a little bit, but I want students to know that this is a great place. And it's a place that can help you become who you want to be. And that's what we're interested in doing. Now, Libby O'Hara, are you out there?
Yes, I am. I'm here. I'm listening.
Okay, well, before we go to questions, which we're going to go to in a minute or two here, we're about halfway through our time. I just want to introduce Libby, and Dr. O'Hara coordinates our sport program and also deals with a bunch of partnerships, including the new one with the Worcester Red Sox and a bunch of other organizations. Now, the reason I usually ask Professor O'Hara to speak is, number one, if you were in the room with her, the energy would be palpable. It's a little harder to see online, but also because the sport program, we made a conscious decision to have a sport minor, not a sport major. And we get questions about that all the time. So I usually like to give Dr. O'Hara a couple of minutes to explain why we think doing it our way works better for us. You can go places and major in sport, and maybe that's what you want to do, but that's an important minor for us, and I think it really works out. So Libby, if you could just take a couple of minutes here and light the screen on fire, we'd appreciate that.
Well, the pressure. First of all, our 3 students were awesome. Will, Marie, and Brendan. You guys are rock stars. So yeah, my name's Libby O'Hara. I'm a professor in the Grenon School. My husband's actually the golf coach at Assumption. He's at a tournament right now. So we are embedded in the community of Assumption. We love the students. We love the whole atmosphere, the whole environment. And I will tell you this, that, and I think I can speak for Professor LeBlanc, Professor Lewis, Professor Neese, Dr. Fahey, all the, and Dr. Foley, you are our family. We are here to make sure that you are successful when you graduate. We are here so that if there's a question that's gnawing at you, or you're nervous to ask someone, you come and you ask us. There are many days when Professor LeBlanc has, students in his office and he's explaining things, and we're truthful and we're honest, but it's only because we want you to be successful. I always say, been there, done that. So now our goal is to make sure you get there and you do that. Our relationship with Bain Capital is a very special one. When one of the managing directors at Bain Capital, who I introduced myself to very weirdly and went and met him for lunch in Boston, asked me every year, give me 4 or 5 names of kids who you think would be good candidates. And then they go, and then I will spend time with those students, prepping them on what they're going to ask for interviews. And now Maria was the wonderful beneficiary of kids who are already working there, right? So they were able to coach her too, because now we have I think we have 5 or 6 alum working there right now. The same with Will in the CPA world. We're just engaged all the time. We're always talking, we're always moving and shaking. So I'll talk for 2 minutes about the sport minor. So I worked in professional sports. It's a long time ago. I always tell people, back when I was cool, I worked in professional sports. I'm not cool anymore. I'm a geek. But sports is a business, right? So you still need to know how to read financial statements. You need to understand marketing. You need to understand management. You need to understand economics. You need to understand all the business facets, right? So what we do is we encourage you, major in a field that is your passion. Major in a field that you love. What you can major in English. The Red Sox are always asking me for good writers. Always. Libby, do you have any good writers? We need good writers. So major in what you want, and then come and take the minor. And what we teach you in the minor is the nuance of sport. right? What does it mean to work for a team? And so we partnered with the Worcester Red Sox so that you can actually go into the Worcester Red Sox offices and learn all that. You can meet with the president of the Worcester Red Sox or Larry Lucchino, one of the principal owners. You can go and watch as the field is being built. That they're going to throw the first pitch on May 11th, and due to COVID, we all can't be there, but we were actually our school was going to be the first baseball team to play a game there. We are, once again, very close knit with them. I think I have right now 5 students interning there this summer. As I look at this list that we threw up on, I have students working at the Boston Red Sox. I have someone working at the Brooklyn Nets. I have a student working at the New England Patriots who was an accounting major, stayed and did his 5th year. We got close, had nothing to do really with sports, started working in the finance department. First, he started selling tickets. Then he got promoted to the finance department. He now runs all cash management for Gillette Stadium. He knows Bob Kraft by name and face, and they interact. And he called me, his sister called me. His sister has a big job at IBM. She's also an alum. And Alex was at the Super Bowl a few years ago, and the Pats asked him to carry the flag out of the tunnel. So Alex actually led Tom Brady and the team out of the tunnel right before the Super Bowl. So that was our kid. Yay. So we have someone at Puma. We've got, so if there's somewhere you want to work, somewhere you're interested in, I'm going to make that call for you. I'm going to help you I'm going to help you get the interview. I can't, like Maria and Will and Brendan will tell you, we can't get you the job, right? You've got to earn your spot. You've got to earn that. But I think what we can do is we are going to prepare you. I ended one of my classes today, and a student stayed after. She has an interview tomorrow with a fashion design firm as a social media intern. And we spent probably 45 minutes prepping for the interview today. So that's important. That's important to all of us at the Grenon School. And I challenge you, as you look around other schools, whether they're big. I went to UMass for my master's degree. So I agree with Maria. It's one huge school. But I challenge you to find a school where the students and the faculty are so connected. And Professor LeBlanc is always telling me about students who he's in touch with after, several years of, and so is Dean Foley and Professor Neese, and Professor Lewis has done phenomenal things with our MBA program. So I encourage you, as you make your decisions, number one, come and visit the school during a non-tour day. Just come and ask to zoom in some of our classes between now and in the middle of May. Ask the admissions counselor, Dan, if you can get a Zoom link. I welcome you to come sit in my classes. I'm teaching Intro to Marketing and Intro to Org Behavior. I'm not teaching sport this semester. Come and sit in my classes. Watch us engage. Watch us use real world experiences, and watch us help you get prepared. I wouldn't be at Assumption if I didn't believe in it, and I didn't believe in the students here. So I hope as you make your decisions, take us up on our offer to really engage with us. Call me, Zoom with us. We would love to see you here in the fall.
Thank you, Libby. So Dan, my friend from admissions, perhaps we should open it up to questions now. We're a little over halfway done here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I haven't seen any come through to my to the everyone chat. I don't know if anybody got questions specifically, but if anybody has any questions, I know we just threw a whole lot of information at you guys about the School of Business and all it has to offer, and some great success stories from our students. So if you guys have any questions, now's the time to ask. We got a great host of people to answer those questions. So if you want to ask a question, now's the time to get an answer. If I major in organizational communications, what would be a good minor to pick up as well?
I think I could take that. We have can you hear me? Just want to make sure my mute was off.
Yep.
So we have many people that want to minor in English and, really strengthen the writing part, but it's not unusual for OrgComm majors to also minor in marketing or management because that particular major is very instrumental in both internal and external communications within organizations. But There's a variety of different choices, but those three are probably the top three: English, marketing, and management.
I think related to that, Carrie, also, people often ask me what's the difference, because when you take organizational communication, you can take a lot of marketing courses. They ask me what the difference is. And I usually tell them, if you become a marketing major, you'll be surprised. It's more quantitative than you would expect. But what OrgComm allows you to do is take a lot of the same courses but the emphasis is different. It's much more on writing and presenting and basically learning how to take a leading communication role in an active business. So you can do it from both angles, but I think that difference between the quant versus the qualitative is one of the things that separates those two majors.
That's for sure.
Some students also like to do graphic design because the strong communication skills, the social media in that world has become pretty popular. And a lot of our students have also explored graphic design. And that's the nice thing about a liberal arts school is you can have a major in one of our schools and a minor in another and be able to combine different disciplines.
I tell my students all the time about graphic design, that if they like it, because you have to take an art class as part of the core curriculum, you could take art history, but I encourage them to take graphic design and see if you like it, because that, again, that's a really valuable skill set as you go out into the business world. And I think, Carrie LeBlanc, can you maybe talk a little bit about the marketing with the digital marketing concentration? I've been really excited about the response to that.
Yeah, so the actual concentration started, I think we're in our second year, and we've gained probably about a little over 20 students that are now selected it, and only in the second year, just really kind of getting going. But the courses that people would use specialize in this is mobile marketing, social media marketing, digital marketing strategies, and then the data analysis for digital. And part of many of those courses, at least three of them, Professor Daniels in particular, who teaches that, as well as Professor Hill, will work with external companies and have real projects. And those real projects are experiential learning, where they're developing the social media presence for an organization, creating their mobile marketing campaign. So that is real world applicability, and a couple certificates are possible during that process as well. People get HubSpot. I know there's another one out there I don't remember, but it's clearly an opportunity to really, as in sport in some regard, the digital concentration really kind of gets the niche of what's happening in the digital world. All of marketing is eventually going to become digital. It already is. But in this case, we're really getting some specialized attention around things that are going to be very applicable once you graduate.
Thank you. So we do have a couple more coming in here. So this question is, and I think Brennan spoke about this, but kind of like what classes help guide students into specific areas of business? I'm guessing this is related to if you know you want business, but you're not sure what kind of business you want to go into. How can you find that throughout your time here at Assumption? How are maybe those students helped? How are they guided?
Well, I can certainly answer that, but I'm going to throw it open to see if anybody else would prefer to answer that question. Get everybody involved here.
I would say, honestly, as far as advice is concerned, I would try everything in the business department. I mean, there's going to be a core curriculum regardless that requires you to take basic accounting courses, marketing courses, management courses, whatever it may be. But I would try everything. Like, I had no requirement to take economics classes whatsoever, but I ended up taking economics of the public sector with Professor Fahey, and I loved it. It was a hard class, but in general, it's going to steer you in a certain direction. And if it's not that, try internships, try everything related to business possible while you're young and have the time in your college career. I had no interest in finance whatsoever, but I took an internship with the athletic department, and I was responsible for a pretty significant amount of our finances at Assumption for athletics. So you never know what's going to steer you in what direction, but just try everything.
I think it's important to understand that you don't have to declare your major until your end of your sophomore year. So we encourage you to experiment. As Brendan said, and a few other people have said, I can't say that exactly there's a business core across the entire institution because economics and finance do things a little bit differently than, for example, management and marketing. But generally speaking, they're all taking that basic accounting, math, economics, statistics, and a lot of students are taking management and marketing and finance. So you get a chance to really explore all of this stuff before you have to make your decision. Anybody else want to chime in on that?
So I was going to pause to see.
Yeah, could I just add a couple things? First of all, I want to welcome Emma Santee. Emma, good to see you. I guess you had technical difficulty. And Joe, if you wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind having Emma say a few words.
Well, yeah, I think that'd be great. We have one question left here. Maybe we should do the question first and then we'll switch over to Emma. It shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes to answer the question.
Yeah, is it reasonable while in the accelerated MBA program to want to double major in finance and economics plus a minor?
So I'll take that program. So I think it looks like the person that asked it may be talking about both the undergraduate program and the accelerated MBA program, because the MBA program has no majors or minors. In the accelerated program, you take the same you take MBA courses, and they're the same MBA courses that you take in all of our different MBA programs. We have several different MBA programs, and but instead of taking electives, students really are focused on particular courses that will help launch their career. So that's what makes our accelerated MBA program unique compared to other MBA programs. There's a lot of programs today, MBA programs today in other schools, that try to market themselves to recent graduates. So if you think about it, you're in a school for 4 years, and you could spend one more year and leave with both a bachelor degree and an MBA. And so that seems like it's really a good deal to do. But our particular MBA program is for the accelerated for the recent graduates is really focused on helping you sort of launch your careers. It includes internships, it includes networking, and then it includes the core MBA courses that really any MBA program will have. So I'm not sure if I answered the question, because the MBA program doesn't have double majors, doesn't have majors, and doesn't have minors. But in the undergraduate
Like, just to jump in for a second, I think maybe the student was accepted into our BA MBA program. So I'm thinking maybe they're asking, while they're an undergrad, can they double major in finance and economics and do a minor and still be able to fit in those classes to start into the accelerated MBA?
Yeah, and I can take that. It's actually fairly easy to double major in those two because there's some overlap. So adding econ onto finance, for example, is only about 6 more courses. So those two are fairly easy to double major in. Whether a minor could be tacked onto that, I suppose it would depend on the minor and how large the minor is and how well planned out everything was. But generally, I haven't found that students, if they have a goal in mind, can't quite meet that goal. Usually, if you know what you want to do coming in, you can accomplish it.
And I think that last question there about when do you have to decide, you can indicate it now, but as you apply, but usually it's in the junior year when students actually make that decision, because the program allows you to take MBA classes when you're a senior, so it's helpful if you get that done. I wanted to introduce Emma Santee, who was nice enough to join us. Some technical difficulties. She is an organizational communication major, and that's not a major you see in every school. So Emma, perhaps if you could tell us about your experience and why it's worked out well for you at Assumption.
Hi, sorry about being a little bit late, had some technical difficulties, but so my name's Emma Santee. I'm a senior here. I'm also a member of the track and field team. I was a captain this year. I chose Assumption for a lot of different reasons. I loved the school size. I loved the location. It's an hour and a half away from my hometown of Westerly, Rhode Island. I also loved all of the liberal arts aspect to the education. Coming out of high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I knew that going somewhere with a strong liberal arts education background was going to help me find what was really going to be like my passion for life. So I was touring a bunch of different schools. I landed on Assumption. I found myself on the track team. And really, I've had like 4 of the best years of my life here. I've met so many amazing friends, so many amazing mentors, professors, faculty, my coaches, my teammates, everything like that. It really has been just one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And so going more into that, the decisions that I had to make was, what do I want to do? What kind of job do I want to get? And I realized that I'm a people person. I love talking to people. I love engaging with people. And I knew I wanted to do something in business. So my freshman year, I decided I'm going to take a marketing class, I'm going to take a management class, and I'm going to take an accounting class, and I'm going to see where I'm going to go. And based off of that, I found some really great professors. I loved accounting, but then I realized that any advanced accounting I was not going to love. So scratch that off my list. And I was down to management and I was down to marketing. And I realized that there was a third major in that kind of realm, and it was organizational communications. And I had never heard of it. I was like, what is this? I told my parents about it. They were like, haven't heard of it. So I looked it up. I looked up what the core was. It was extremely similar to the management and the marketing majors. So I knew that I was already on track with that. And then I started diving a little deeper, trying to realize, what do I actually like about business? And I realized I like the communication part. So I was like, oh my God, perfect fit. Great job doing my research. Happy I did that. And I started taking more classes. I finished my core. I took some extra English classes to help strengthen my communications base. And I was able to just kind of explore the Grenon School of Business department. I've had so many fantastic professors. Professor LeBlanc, he's my advisor. Without him, I probably wouldn't know what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But thanks to him, I now know. I've narrowed it down. I've got a track. I've got a path. And I've met so many amazing people. All the professors really care. Every time I walk into class, if it's a Monday and I had a meet that weekend, they're asking, oh my God, Emma, how'd you do? Or they already know. And they're like, oh my God, Emma, great job in that. And I'm like, thanks. It was really hard, but thanks. So they're just, the Grenon School of Business, a fantastic place. The professors really care. You get to engage with them one-on-one. All of your class sizes are really small. So you can't hide, which is a good thing, because you might not be the strongest in every single class, but your professors will always make sure that you are supported, helped, you got the resources, and that you're really going to do well after graduation too. They really care about each and every student, and that's why I chose Grenon School of Business.
Emma, thank you very much. And I also want to point out, Emma was having technical difficulties. Did she ditch it and give up? No. She made sure she kept going at it until she got where she was supposed to be. And that's another characteristic I see very commonly in Assumption students, that they are motivated to make sure when they identify what they want to do, that it happens for them, and they call on all the resources that are available to make that happen. So Emma, thank you for making the extra effort to get here tonight, because I think Professor LeBlanc talked about it a little bit, and so did I, but I think organizational communication is a wonderful major for the right people, and it takes a little explaining because not everybody truly understands what it is at the outset. But if you go through it, it's there's so many possibilities there. It's really turned into a very popular and wonderful major for us.
Yeah, so I see that we do have a few more minutes left. So I do actually have a couple other questions that came in. So the first one is just, what is the difference between a bachelor's of art and a bachelor's of science in economics?
Colleen, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so at Assumption, I think generally we just have BAs. There may be some BSs coming through the pipeline. At other institutions, Bachelors of Science that I've seen have a significant quantitative component, but we also have that. So it's just really a label. We require statistics, we require econometrics. Maria can speak to this. She's doing a senior seminar paper, which is a project in econometrics. So while it's labeled a Bachelor of Arts, it has a significant quant component. Hopefully that addresses that question.
I think a lot of that comes from the tradition of the school. As I tell people, we built the business programs on top of the liberal arts history of the institution. I think it was just historically more consistent with a liberal arts institution to have Bachelor of Arts rather than Bachelor of Science. But I've seen it both ways. And I think at one time it really had some significant differences, but I'm not really sure I see that much, because I was actually on a committee a couple of years ago where we studied this in terms of whether we should convert to BS degrees for certain disciplines. And I think some places are in the sciences, but it hasn't hit the business school yet, although it's something we may look at in the future. But I think functionally, as Dr. Fahey said, there isn't really much different about what you study in a BS or a BA today where it might have been in the past.
Thank you. And then the last question I have here is, do international business majors have to study abroad or do an internship?
Neither. Neither. There's a language requirement. You have to get to level 3 on a language, and we certainly encourage students to study abroad and or do internships. We have the Rome campus. A lot of students really enjoy that. I think a number of business majors, or excuse me, international business majors do the Rome program. So while encouraged, not required, I guess is the short answer.
And I think that's true. We encourage them to do internships also. And some students actually do their internships outside of the country. So perhaps in relation to that, I'll throw that to Professor LeBlanc for a couple of minutes about the Rome program. I had the privilege of teaching in the Rome program myself 7 years ago now, and Dr. LeBlanc will be the on-site director the next couple of years. We hope we'll be there in the fall with COVID. We're not sure, but I'm definitely will be there in the spring. So Dr. LeBlanc, maybe you could just talk about the Rome program for a couple of minutes. And
I need more time. I need a plate of pasta and, maybe a little tour of the Vatican Museum or something. But yeah, the Rome.
Pretend you're in Milan, then you'll be much more on point with the business. Pretend you're not in Rome. Pretend you're in Milan.
It's hard to do that when our campus is about a mile from the Vatican and about a mile and a half from the center of Rome, the Colosseum. It's a self-contained campus where we could take up upwards of 18 to 24 students. Right now it's 18. And classes are held at our building, as well as students go out for their Italian. They take where they test in, they'll take Italian 1, 2, or 3, or some students choose intensive. And all of the courses incorporate the Eternal City in the background or as part of the curriculum. So art history, you'll be in class one day, and then the next day of class, you're going to be at the statue that you've just researched about. And so all the classes kind of tie in some element of using Rome as a teaching source as well. It's a wonderful experience. I think 99% of the students that study abroad say it's one of the best things they've ever done, and would love to go back. I know that my wife and I, we were there in the spring of 2018 the first time. We have 24 students that we got connected with that are still connected with us, and it's just a wonderful experience. And if you can plan it into your schedule, and it's fairly easy to do, especially sophomore year, and it's something I'd highly recommend. And I'll be there.
We hope, at least in the fall.
Yeah.
Definitely in the spring.
All right, so
Dan,
so that's it for the questions. I don't know if anybody has anything burning on their mind they'd like to close out with, but that was the end of the question line for my chat, at least.
So last call for questions. Okay, well, I'd like to thank everyone prospective parents, prospective students who joined us tonight, and also all of my administrative team and the students who shared their experiences with us. It was a wonderful contribution, and I think it really is part of what makes Assumption special. Oh, what do we got here?
We have a buzzer beater. Is an MBA worth it? Who wants that one? Which one of you guys wants that one?
Yeah, that's a great question, maybe even a loaded question. But you know what, I would think about it this way in terms of, is an MBA worth it? I think in the current job market, an advanced degree in business is worth it, because what's happening is that it's just another element of you sort of your portfolio coming out of school that you have that might provide you with that competitive advantage. Now, when you think about it, at Assumption University in the Grenon School of Business, you can do what we call and what is the accelerated MBA, which is in many places it might be similar to like a 5th year. So essentially, what you do is you're here for 4 years. You stay 1 more year. The following May, you're leaving Assumption with both a bachelor's degree and an MBA. And not only that, our particular MBA, and I said this earlier, our MBA has within it elements of the program that is going to help you launch your career. It's going to involve internships. It's going to involve career development. It's going to involve networking. So our accelerated MBA for recent grads is really focused on helping you launch the career that you would like. And again, it's, most of our students, because you can take, up to 2 courses in your senior year as an undergrad, they're able to finish the program in a year by the following May. So I think when you factor all of those together, I think it does make sense. I think it is a worthwhile investment.
And for accounting students that want to get their CPA licensure, it absolutely is, because for accounting students to get your 150 credits, a lot of schools, their 5th year programs, they do Master of Science in Accounting programs, which are 10 more accounting courses. And we made a conscious decision to have ours be an MBA program, our CPA track in the MBA program, because our undergrad accounting major gets you everything you need for the CPA exam. You don't need 10 more accounting courses. And so in our opinion, the MBA degree is far more valuable to you than a Master of Science in Accounting, because you're going to get the management and marketing and finance in the broad business basis. Because now at firms, a lot of the technical stuff is becoming automated. And what they want is people that are going to be good communicators with their clients and with the members of their team. And that's what our MBA degree will allow you to do. So for people that want CPA licensure, MBA is more worth it than an MSA degree.
Well, I thank you for both those answers. And I guess my answer would be a little bit different. Come join us at Assumption and we'll help you figure it out.
Good answer,
I think you've done this before. I don't know. I feel like this isn't your first time at the rodeo. I do see that we're at the time limit. I do want to thank not only the prospective families for coming and listening to us talk at you for an hour, but also to our students, our alumni, and our faculty for taking some time out of their days to share some of their stories and some of the details about the program. I think Professor O'Hara said it earlier, but if any of you guys want to talk to them further, if any of them interest you, if you're interested in the field that they teach in, I know that the large majority of them are very, very happy to speak with prospective students, to tell them, this is what class you have to take. These are the experiential learning opportunities. Sit in on a class. Like Professor O'Hara said, we have a lot of great opportunities that way. So just because you're not a student yet, you're not a Greyhound yet, doesn't mean you can't interact, contact, speak with, learn from still. So I can be your go-between. My name is Dan McLevine. I am an undergraduate admissions counselor, like I said at the beginning of this. So if you would like me to reach out to any of them, set up a meeting for you, or potentially get you into one of the classes, I'd be more than happy to help. With that being said, I am going to let you guys enjoy the rest of your evenings. Thank you for joining us one more time, and we hope to see you guys in the fall.